What's going on, guys? Winnie the Pooh, Demon Hunter, Volume 4. I've been enjoying the series so far. It's been very interesting to see what happens with public domain IPs all getting mashed in together like this. And so, just to kind of catch us up to where we're at right now, the Queen of Hearts has declared war on Snow White and her territory. And that's where Winnie the Pooh and Christopher Robin and Rabbit, they all fall under Snow White's jurisdiction and are actually part of the Demon Hunter Guild that are basically like her soldiers, her troops, help keep the people of the land safe. And the reason's not 100% clear as to what she exactly wants with Snow White's territory, but there's something that they thought was in Snow White's castle. They found out after storming the place that it's not there, but it does appear to be in Humpty Dumpty City, which is also in Snow White's area. And so that's their next plan of attack. This is also where Snow White also is aware of this attack on Humpty Dumpty City, so she's getting the troops ready and going to go help save the people of that city there. So Snow White, of course, is taking everything very seriously, and she's calling in all of her agents that are all over the place and making sure that they come in to help fight this war and thwart off Wonderland. One of these agents is Rabbit. Now, Winnie and Christopher, they went out to go get Rabbit. Now, this is a problem because Rabbit and Winnie are not getting along right now, which was also made clear as to why. What happened in the past to make Rabbit dislike Winnie the Pooh so much. However, Christopher Robin was able to step in the middle of their fight that they were having and convince Rabbit to go ahead and come along. Now, Rabbit's been sitting there living with some turtle monks, and upon hearing that Snow White needs people to come in to help fight the war, they sent out this turtle warrior as well, who's also unnamed. And on their way back, they stumble across the village in Snow White's territory and realize that it's now under attack from Wonderland, and that is where our story will continue from here. So we have Winnie the Pooh, Demon Hunter, Volume 4, Storm in the Gates. This is written and illustrated by Nicholas Mueller, and all of his books up to this point have been broken up into chapters. So we have Chapter 9, Prelude to War. So we see a plane flying over Humpty Dumpty City, and it's throwing out some leaflets, and it's from the Queen of Hearts saying, "I want you to suffer." And now Alex and Evelyn are over here questioning Humpty Dumpty about, why haven't you brought this to our attention? Are you trying to hide something? And basically, he's kind of acting like the mayor of Amity from Jaws, where he's just kind of brushing a lot of the threats that are very obvious. He's just brushing them off. He's not trying to make a big panic of things and things like that. And we got a reporter over here. And so he's trying to say, hey, look, I've been taking it seriously, but I just don't want to create panic and things like that. And anytime something he says could be taken out of context, he gets all freaked out by it. And he's like, no. I mean this. So he reminded me a lot of the Jaws mayor there. Now, they start to press him a little bit and so why exactly are they coming after you specifically? Why is the Queen of Hearts so interested in you? And Humpty's was like, well, I can only assume it's because I was once a city or, a citizen there before I made up this great city. And word is she's kind of lost her mind, so probably just wanting to come after me because I was once one of her residents. But not to worry. I've been stepping up my guards, and I hired these two mercenaries, Jack and Jill. And Evelyn and Alex, they are just tickled by this. They're like, these idiots? Are you kidding me? They couldn't even pass the Red Riding Hood exams, and even Winnie could do that. But then something catches their eye, and they see all these guards over in this building area. I'm like, what's that over there? Oh, not to worry. That's just all my personal stuff. Gotta step up security big time over there too. Don't worry about that. Well, I want to check that out. Yeah, we can later. Oh, okay, that's big time suspicious there. But then Humpty Dumpty looks at Jack and says, whatever you do, don't let anybody over there, especially the Red Riding Hoods. So yeah, he's always up to something. We then catch up with Winnie and company, and as I said in the preamble, they're seeing a village being attacked. Now, a lot of these villagers have been taken capture, and they're about to get killed, and they're trying to figure out what are they going to do. So Winnie, he's like, I just want to bum rush it, and let's just attack all out. Rabbit and everyone else is like, maybe the stealthier approach is the way to go here. We're clearly outnumbered. Why don't we try it that way? And of course, Christopher Robin and our turtle friend over here, they both agree. So then they're trying to figure out, okay, what's the best approach here before Christopher realizes Winnie has disappeared. And so we have the general man over here. I don't know his name, so I'm just going to refer to him as like the general man or general or whatever. He's just telling the villagers, he's like, sucks to be you. You got some bad luck here. I'm going to be executing all of you, but I promise I'll make it quick. You won't feel a thing. And we're just going to get on with it. So he raises his sword, and pay a little bit of attention to that sword here, because I have some things to say. So he's raising the sword, about ready to swing and kill all the villagers, when Winnie comes over and smacks him in the face. Now, we have a bunch of debris here, and it's not exactly clear as to what that debris is. I'm assuming it's the sword. I don't see the blade. I just can only assume that this is the hilt that we're seeing. But again, nothing's made clear, and the reason I think this is we're going to see that sword change later on. That's why I wanted to make note of that. So, a big fight ensues, and it draws out the other three, and they're basically calling Winnie kind of a dumbass for doing this, and he's like, look, I couldn't just let the people be slaughtered. Rabbit then continues, yeah, but you didn't have to be so stupid about it either. I'm just kind of summarizing the overall feel of what they're saying. And then we see them all getting ready for battle. And then we get a quick moment with Snow White and Eeyore, and I'm just going to kind of quickly sum this up as well. Basically, Snow White just is not happy about how things have turned out. She wishes that war was not possible. She doesn't want to do this and put people's lives at risk and stuff like that. And Eeyore says, well, there's nothing you can do. People are always going to disagree with how things are currently turning out, and that's where conflict comes in. And all you can do is the best for the people and just make them proud. And that's really all we have for Eeyore and Snow White, is just these couple pages. So then we come back over to Humpty Dumpty's town, and we see Evelyn and Alex. They're, telling all the guards where to go and things like that, and to be prepared for an attack and things like that, when suddenly there is an attack, and it's a big surprise. I got big problems with this. So, lots of chaos breaks out, and they have no idea where the attack's coming from. And we see how many people are here. Now, here's why I have problems with this. They knew that Humpty Dumpty's town was going to be attacked. They knew that. They just didn't know when. They're currently setting up guards everywhere and, presumably lookouts for when the army comes. They know where Wonderland is, so they have a good idea as to where they're coming from, most likely, right? There is, of course, the off chance that there's going to be a surprise attack, but that's why you have guards surrounding the area. How did this army surprise this city? That doesn't make any sense. In the previous volume, we saw that the whole thing that they're trying to do is not be caught with their pants down, essentially, like they were with the wolves came in. They were doubling up everything. So how they got caught off guard here is completely unknown to me. I think that's a huge mistake here and big issue from everything that we've seen. Because, they've been here for a while, and if they had time to be talking with Humpty Dumpty, I would assume that they got all this stuff going on where they're already fortifying everywhere and just trying to figure out more odds and ends stuff within the city of, are there any, little secret passages from the outside where they can get in and that kind of stuff. especially when the leaflets are already coming down too. So it's like this should not be a surprise to anybody. And I understand that Humpty Dumpty was ignoring it, but Snow White is not. So I just think that that's a big issue. And so now we start Chapter 10, Wonderland Attacks. So we're over here with Winnie and company, and they're fucking up all of these soldiers, no problem. Just wanting to get all the civilians evacuated as quickly as possible. But even though the guards are giving them no problems, old General Man, he's giving them a lot of problems. And now look at that sword. That is Buster sword-like. So it's clearly a different sword in his hand. That's why I think that like all that debris that we were seeing, that was the sword in pieces. But this sword, like I said, Buster sword looking thing. But then it looks like it got thinner right here. Because, I mean, you look at it, it's clearly wider than this dude's head. But then it looks to be skinnier. So I have no idea if this thing can change shape. Perhaps it is a different sword. I have no ideas. And I will withhold judgment. Maybe it is like a magical sword that can kind of change its shape. So I'll withhold judgment on that until I have more clarity. Maybe that doesn't come. But if that could just be a continuity error. And it's not really that big of a deal if it is. Just something I wanted to point out there. Come back over to Humpty Dumpty's city. We have, like, I'm just going to call these like 3 captains. We have the Chungus guy, the Acrobat, and Predator. That's what I'm going to go with because none of them have names. So I just got to find a way to distinguish them. And they're making their way in. Humpty Dumpty, he's just in complete shock and awe as to what's going on. And the Cheshire Cat sneaks up behind him and is like, you know what? You look like you could use some air. And then lifts him up into the sky. Now, Evelyn's over here fighting and sees that Cheshire has now let go of the mayor. And he's fallen down. And Evelyn has managed to save him. Unfortunately, he does get a little bit of a crack in the head. My camera's not going to show it too well. But, yeah, he's pretty banged up. And she relays that information over to Alex there. And then we see that these captains are coming through. We got Chungus guy. He's just messing up all the Red Riding Hoods. But we're going to stick with the Acrobat one. She makes her way through, beats up a bunch of guards, makes her way over to that like more fortified building that Humpty Dumpty was real like kind of sketchy about. She gets past those guards, makes her way into the building where she encounters Jack and Jill. And makes real quick work of both of them before coming over into what looks to be a holding tank of some sort. My guess is there is a person within it. And just says package secured. Cut over with Winnie and company. And General Man, he is giving them a fight of a century over here. So we got Rabbit, Winnie, and our turtle friend over here. All just failing to do anything against him. I'm not sure what Christopher Robin's doing. Presumably he's just fighting some other guards and stuff like that. Because we don't see him in these pages. But yeah, it's a 3-on-1 and the 3 are losing. Over here we have Evelyn and Alex. They're getting banged up too. And Big Chungus guy comes through, but he's not their immediate worry as we see Predators up here on the building. Makes his way down, slashes at Alex, and then kicks her right through, or, gets her right through the glass. Now, I'm a little confused on the continuity here. That glass that shattered is already busted up, and it looks like it was bigger over here than what we see over here, so it kind of feels like we're just a little out of place as far as her going through that glass. Just a bit of a continuity error there. Chungus guy is taking out more Red Hoods. Explosions happening. Predators fighting with Chungus. And then Acrobat comes out and is like, okay, well, the package is secure. It's time to go. So then the other 2 join them, and Evelyn and Alex take note of that. It's like they're kicking our ass left and right, but now they're retreating. That seems a little odd. What's in that carriage? And so they say, okay, well, we got to follow them for certain. There's something clearly important in there. Meanwhile, over there, back with Winnie and company, General Man, he is taking care of everybody, has given them an ass beating of a century, and we see that he's got everybody, all of our heroes, down on their knees, and he is ready to execute. And so he's like, okay, well, any last words? Because it's time to meet your maker. And before he can do that, we see a bunch of guards getting taken out. And then General Man gets punched by an orange paw there. And we see that Tigger and Alice have now joined the fray. And that is where our book ends. Now, you see, I got plenty more pages here. And so what that is a little bit of a side story about the Demon Slayer turtles. So more on the warriors that Rabbit's been staying with. And so I'm not going to go through this too much. Basically what we're getting is some backstory, more backstory for Rabbit, both with his time with these turtle warriors, like the monks, as well as some time where he was doing his training with the Red Riding Hood demon hunters, and just getting some more. And the reason I'm not going through it is just it's not terribly relevant to our mainline story, so I just want to stay more focused on our main story. But this was pretty insightful and definitely worth the read if you are to pick this up. So I'm not trying to poo-poo on this at all. You don't get any more information as far as names for these turtles, but I definitely think that these turtle monks are inspired by the Ninja Turtles. It's hard to not have that. It's hard not to separate the idea of that, despite them wearing masks and stuff like that. And then we have like girl turtles, and yes, I know that there's Jenica in the normal Ninja Turtles and stuff like that, but there's also a lot more of these monk turtles too, not just the four of them. So worth checking out should you get this book, but it is not something I'm going to focus on right now. But yeah, overall, I enjoyed the book, but it's got some tisms. Something I didn't mention is there are plenty of spelling errors as well, mostly with the distinction on theirs. So it's like the there, and there. So we'll get something like they're saying they're coming, like they are coming, but it's in the more possessive there, stuff like that. And also like to, when you mean also, instead of TOO, we get TO. So nitpicky stuff. I'm not really going to harp on it, and that's why I didn't really point it out, but it's there. So that is a flaw, but mostly the lack of preparation just seemed really bizarre to me, given what we saw in Volume 3. Like, everybody was being super duper serious. They know that that Wonderland's attacking. They know where they're attacking, just don't know when. And then when we catch up with them here, they've been there for what looks like a little bit to kind of set up a bunch of, lookouts and things like that, so they have a better understanding as to when they're about to get attacked. So, if they got caught off guard, like if they were, had they only just gotten there, that wasn't made terribly clear. It really looked like just that village being attacked was more of a surprise and not the the city for Humpty Dumpty. So I guess a little bit more clarity if I misunderstood that would be nice. But otherwise, it's a pretty good book, and I would give it at least a 7 out of 10. I've been really enjoying this series so far, and I certainly recommend this to anybody. And if this looks like something that would interest you, be sure to check the link in the description where you can get a copy for yourself, or at least 2 to follow should any second chance campaigns arise. But that is all I have for today, guys, so until next time, take care, and God bless.